Two unemployed actors, two unemployed actors. They're just between projects.
Welcome back to Two Unemployed Actors. I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
And we have a great show today. Fred's helping us out. He's loving the new setup. We're going for a wider shot, which means he actually gets in frame more often.
Yes.
It's his request. For those watching on our YouTube channel, a play update for you, a Sammy update, and how I cheated on Fred this week.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. And he knew it too. He found out too. Anyway, so first of all, the play. I can't believe 2 shows sold out so far. There's
Nice.
basically less than 26 tickets left. So that would be 25.
Yeah.
So 25 tickets left.
Yeah.
To come and see Lipstick.
I haven't booked yet, but I mean, if I can
hurry
come, I'll
up.
come. Yeah.
Better hurry up.
I know. Wait, how many nights? 3?
Four nights.
Okay, 2 booked
2
out.
available, 2 left.
2 sold out. All right.
So yeah, so it's selling really well. I can't believe, there's so many unknowns, right? Because we're starting to come back into the theatre. My cousin went to the opera last week, and there's a few live gigs on and around and about as we sort of get back to somewhat normal. We've eased restrictions a little bit here in Sydney, which is wonderful.
Good stuff.
Look, it's considering. Talking to friends in LA and friends in Italy and friends in the UK, we're doing well. We're doing great. It's kind of like it hasn't hit compared to what they've had to go through. But
Australia's good.
Yeah, we're doing all right. We're doing all right, and we're booking more overseas productions coming and filming in Australia and in New South Wales in particular, which is wonderful. I know Byron Bay. Good luck trying to rent anywhere there. Even the locals are getting priced out because you've got all these productions moving there. They're actually talking about building a soundstage in Byron Bay.
Nice.
Which doesn't surprise me because you've got Ballina Airport, which is so close there. The Gold Coast isn't that far away.
Yep.
If you're going to drive. So it's easy to get in and out of. And the sound stages in Queensland are always booked out. It's just because, the weather's better. So you get more sunny days.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's great. COVID days are fewer and far between and sunny days are more frequent. What can I say? It's great.
There we go.
So buy tickets to Lipstick is the
point of that story.
To feel even better, to have a nice, happy, we're back to normal comedy farce, which I know I need. Look, I'm still laughing. We're at the stage now where I'm off book with the script, right? Which you want to be with 3 weeks to go.
Yep.
And all the blocking and everything's down. I've even got the costume sorted, all the I's dotted, T's crossed. So I'm really having fun with the little things now. We're sort of playing a little bit and finessing.
Good stuff.
Which is wonderful. And speaking of me working this week, I was booked to do a photo shoot with other dogs. Sorry, Fred. He's basically turned his back on me at the moment for a dog walking app. And it's like a mock interview of how wonderful you think it is, why you need it. And because it's kind of like an Uber, you can book a dog walker that's been vetted and has reviews.
I was going to say, how does it work?
They can walk your dog for you. And they're always in the studio getting photographed with Daisy, French Bulldog, and Peanut, who is a little tiny Jack Russell thing. So, which is, look, it's great. When you want to work with kids and animals,
Perfect.
it's interesting. But Daisy was a bit stubborn, but at one stage she wouldn't get into position, and then she just ran away. And Peanut, from nowhere, just runs into the position, does the pose, pauses. We take photos. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And then just runs away. I'm like, Peanut's showing us how it's done.
Brilliant.
Like any up-and-coming actor, he's taken an opening, he's leveraged it, and for that moment, it was all about him.
What sort of dog was Peanut?
I can't remember.
Something.
Little Jack Russell-y thing. I'll put it on my Instagram.
Can I
White with
just
brown
say-
spots.
Max has a piece of paper with all the notes on it. It says future, and there's nothing
There's
there.
nothing there. No,
There's no future.
it's all blank. Normally, I have what to intro, what to talk about with a few bullet points, and we're not even halfway there. So buckle up. Then as I'm editing it, I'll put if there's any shorts for social media.
Yep.
And then future, what ideas that I come up with to put down next. I probably should delete future if there's nothing there.
Future's a new one. You tried it and figured out there's not much.
Looking ahead isn't as fun. So I'm just looking back. And speaking of looking back, yes, I enjoyed that. Although coming back from the photo shoot was a bit of an issue because Fred could sense that, he didn't have to smell too hard to realise I've been playing with other dogs and cheating on him. When they found out, when they saw photos of him on the Vespa, how Fred loves to ride the Vespa. Oh, that would have been great in a photo shoot. That would have been wonderful. Yeah, well, you can't afford Fred. His
rates are too high.
If Fred could talk, his first words would be, "I want to see an agent." Seriously,
Where's
isn't that
my
right,
lawyer?
Fred? Yeah, get me a contract. So interesting. Also, one more fun fact before I throw to you, Sammy.
Yes.
There's a warning for you to get ready. Yes, using YouTube stats. So I finished a show related, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and I put it out there into the universe, into the social media internet universe, and it's been getting lots of plays, which is wonderful. And there's up to 40-something plays last time I checked in. But what's interesting is because I've hosted on YouTube and I just share that across social media, it's easy to be shared because that's what YouTube's designed for. And it also allows me, once it gets up to a certain number of viewers, to see, all the places where people drop away.
Okay. Yeah, it does.
So, and I know casting directors probably watch it twice normal speed or, drop out early or whatever. But basically, 70% of people get to a minute 30 of the 2-minute mark. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, 30 seconds, I want at least a couple of strong performances.
Yep.
By 1 minute 30, I want you to see a fair range.
Yeah.
So, boom, 1:30 is 1 minute 25 seconds to be precise, is when it starts to drop.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. That sort of cements what I thought about
good
putting
stuff.
obviously put your good stuff up the front, but how to pack it full.
Yeah.
Which is really
you don't
interesting.
want it too long. You don't want like a 5-minute showreel because no one watches that, especially casting directors.
You just waste time editing or paying someone else to.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is where did most of the views, and I mean a whole chunk of views, come from? LinkedIn. I kid you not. I've got a number. Obviously,
so you've got a link on your LinkedIn.
Yeah, I've got a number of people from my corporate life that ended 3 years ago, thankfully. RIP corporate life. And quite a number in the new creative world, from theatre producers to directors to casting directors, you name it. They're all in there. And when I shared the YouTube clip on LinkedIn and said, I can't believe it's been 3 years. So proud that this is what I've been able to achieve in that time. Here's a snapshot of my show for those of you that have a sec, or words to that effect. Those that went through LinkedIn were the most amount of viewers.
There we go.
It's certainly got a nice, that post itself got a nice level of engagement. And even with LinkedIn, you can see how many people have looked at the post without pressing like, whatever, and where they've come from, where they work, all that sort of stuff. So it's interesting every now and then when I've got the time and I've caught my breath, just to have a look at how things are tracking and how everything's moving. Because I know I did my social media special last week, and one gap in most actors was LinkedIn. And well, that's where all these businesses are that will employ you.
I don't know.
And when I shared it on my Facebook, when I shared it on my acting Facebook, Twitter, Insta, all that sort of stuff, the most chunk of views came from LinkedIn. So it's interesting.
Yeah, nice.
Fun fact.
There we go. It's a good fun fact.
What have you been up to, Sammy?
What have I been up to? Shooting Cooked Still, the feature film in Newcastle. Just got back.
When did that start?
Tuesday night.
Shooting? Was that January?
We started.
February.
Yeah, January. No,
Okay,
January. Yeah. So I think it was early to mid Jan.
Right.
And we're finishing on March 31st. It's looking really good.
Okay.
Getting through it. It was the halfway mark this last weekend.
Right.
So we've still got quite a bit to go.
It's a marathon.
And it's awesome.
What's it like living with a character for so long?
Living with a character.
Because I know we're normally like, you get an audition script the night before, you're living and dreaming that character, and then the next day you've forgotten all about it.
Well, actually, it's kind of nice because, to be honest, like this character's just a kind of a teenage boy. Mm-hmm. So he's similar to me in that sense.
Much more relatable to you.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And he's quite he's a bit of a nervous one, but he's quite chilled out.
Okay.
But yeah, living with it means I can just kind of jump straight back into set. And what helps is that I'm with these same group of guys all the time, so we just go straight back into the friend group. And we've become so close that we're now consider each other mates. So it works really, really well. And we even shot last weekend. We shot in the director's house, and that's a space that we usually all go to after shooting for dinner and all that stuff. And this scene was meant to be a house that we've all been to before and hang out. So it actually worked really well.
sense.
Like
That's
as in our
great.
characters had to do that.
Yeah, that's good.
So it was relaxing, and it didn't actually feel like it felt very different to the other shoot days.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was really good. And so
That's good.
So I'm going back soon again, Sunday.
Okay.
So it's just back and forth. Photos look great. I can probably send a few.
Share some stuff. We'll put it on Two Unemployed social so that everyone can
100%.
see what you've been doing.
100%. And I had an audition for news.com.au.
Oh, yeah?
That was a lot of fun. I thought I went really well. I think because I was shooting during the wardrobe date and the callback date.
Right.
It could have been a deal breaker.
Okay.
Pretty sure I would have got it otherwise. No, I don't know. But that was a lot of fun, that one. So that was a lot of inner monologue stuff. So it was like a voiceover
right. Yeah, okay.
kind of things. That's pretty much it. I mean, auditions-wise, been a bit quiet for me.
It has for me too, actually, which is interesting. Even on voiceover. Oh, voiceover's a little bit, but yeah, no, it's been a bit chill.
But I'm gonna call my agent actually after this and see how ask him a bit about
time
the
for
film
a check-in.
Yeah, but I've officially started up my headshot business, Sam Folden Photography.
How's that been going? Because we gave it a little plug a couple of podcasts ago.
No, it's good. So I shot my family and uploaded a couple.
Did they have a
pictures.
choice? Your family?
They did not have a choice.
You're basically following them around the house with a camera going, just stand still.
Yeah.
You're going to be on the website.
I got some great ones. I had to get, yeah.
That's awesome.
No, so I uploaded them, and
Yep.
on the first day of uploading, I got 2 messages from 2 people I know who wanted headshots. So that's great. I got some great responses, and people shared it, and that was awesome.
That's really good.
So so if anyone needs a headshot in Sydney,
and you're in Sydney or can get to Sydney,
it's just
look up Sammy.
Yeah, go to my Instagram page. It's at Sam Folden Photography. That's Holden, but with an F.
Folden.
And honestly, like, do it. So that's been a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that kicks off. I've been working hard on it, so
that's good, and it's great when you can do stuff too that's related to the industry.
100%.
But also when things take a dip in terms of the auditioning and industry engagements, that sort of stuff. You've got your feature film project to cling to keep you busy, and I've got the play rehearsals to keep me busy. So it really feels like
exactly.
I haven't
stuff
stopped
going
since
on.
last year. It's like we're just consistently been thinking and living and breathing acting, which is what you want.
But that's really cool. I was going to say, like, this is my first feature film, right? So it's about an hour 45 or whatever the film will be. And like if you do a feature film that doesn't, get filmed in blocks, 2.5 months of just full on filming or whatever, right? Or independent one at least. This one, over 3 months, different blocks and stuff like that. It still feels, it's actually quite a long time.
Yeah.
And it's really, really fun to be able to just know that you're going to film and shoot on these dates with the same people for 3 months. It's just, I
can see the attraction to really good, really wonderfully written television, where a lot of great actors have moved to, as the writing's just gone amazingly well.
And you spend years with that.
And you're living and breathing the character
100%.
throughout a season, is probably the only way to sort of make that feel even longer.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting how you get to develop a character so much over such a period of
exactly.
time.
And that's why I think a lot of the time with TV shows, you can actually see even the actors become more comfortable with their characters. You would, 100%. Like Jess and I are watching Supernatural still. I know we're very behind. But 15 seasons.
Yeah.
It's 15 years.
That is a long time, especially. Are the series regulars still the same? Like similar?
Yeah. So these two guys, so the two characters, Dean and Sam Winchester, play brothers.
Yep.
It's like Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki are the actors.
Okay.
And, they start, Jared was 23 and Jensen was 27, and it's been 15 years now.
That's amazing.
They finished last year.
That's incredible.
And, spending that much time, obviously crew would probably come and go.
Yeah.
But, you get to know each other, and it's just,
that's really cool
awesome.
because, I mean, you've sort of got to, like, for us normally, and I'm sure, other up-and-coming actors, it's the same deal. Maybe you get 2 or 3 times a year where you really get to stretch your legs in a character for scripted television or film. And, like, you're trying to layer everything in there and build up this little backstory for the character and hit all the right nuances and everything, and you're just doing it under the pump. If you can pull it off you know, in those situations. That's even after all the auditions you do, doing the same thing but in even shorter time frame.
Exactly.
It must be great doing it on a.
I also think the exciting and scary part of doing a TV show is that you're not reassured that you're going to be doing like 7 seasons, right? You don't know generally.
Well, I mean, you do the pilot, you don't know if you're going to come back.
Yeah, exactly. but that's
every actor's fear is once we hear cut, you know, we're never going to. We're going to be able to go back again.
We're done. But that's also the exciting part. Like you figure out, oh God, we've got another 2 seasons to do now. So that's another 2 years with these people. I mean, obviously it doesn't take.
It helps when you do like working with them because you know, you got long days together. Yeah, you kind of get to know crew and cast, and it's just obviously when you've got a close knit team, it helps so much when everyone's pulling their weight.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like I'm starting to experience a little bit, but like I said, this character's very, similar to me. But I'd love to experience even more, just kind of growing with a character.
Yeah,
it almost because. I find when I started out acting, I'd be like, and I did this, and this is what I did. But I'm talking more now like he did about my character. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's a whole different person. Yeah. And that's, I think, experience as well. Like once you figure out that it's kind of, they're 2 separate things, which is awesome. You know, you got to embody it.
And especially if you're playing a really dark character, or a character goes a really dark place, very difficult. Then you really want to be able to help to get out of that mindset, out of that headspace, especially if you're living with it for hours and hours a week. 100%.
Well, actually, speak on this topic. Actually, up in Newcastle, we all watched. I don't know if you've heard of the documentary Jim and Andy.
No.
So it's on.
Is that about Andy Kaufman?
It's about Andy Kaufman and Jim Carrey.
Yes.
So Jim Carrey played Andy Kaufman, who was a comedian, in a film, and then Universal didn't want. So for 20 years, they kept the behind-the-scenes footage under wraps because they didn't want Jim Carrey to look like an asshole. Mm-hmm. But it is incredible. He was just in character the whole time.
Because there was a guy, oh my God, I've just forgotten his name, but was wrestling with Andy Kaufman. Because for those that don't know, Andy Kaufman, fantastic comedian in Taxi, was when I first saw him in Taxi reruns. Mm-hmm. But the guy was all over comedy, huge in the 70s. And just hilarious, but you just never know what's going to happen next. Whether it be an interview, whatever. It was kind of Borat before Borat. Yeah, it's that type of comedy. He'd turn up for a press conference about something and it'd just go off tangent. So he was wrestling women. And he used to brag that I can wrestle X amount of women and always blah, blah. And he'd play it up. But he was quite athletic. And he would actually, they'd go in and really try. And he'd get them in the end. And win, and that was his way of going, look how good I am. Then he went and challenged a WWF wrestler, who's the gentleman I've forgotten his name of, and they were great friends. And they would always be shit talking each other. You know, you can't do blah, I can't do, you can't do blah. And it even went to blows almost on Letterman. There's a great, if you look at Letterman in YouTube, there was a great moment where you can see them almost coming to blows. It's hilarious. But they're great friends. And he was asked to go back to film with Jim Carrey, and one comment he made, he's like Jim Carrey, fair enough, he's going all method and he's in his character the whole time and he only wants to refer to as Andy and I don't know, whatever, but the way he treated him was the way you'd think he'd be treated if you only saw what happened on camera, because they were shit talking each other.
Jim Carrey,
he said to the director, he's like, mate, we were great mates, we never used to talk to each other like that, we were great.
You see in the documentary Jim Carrey completely embodied Andy Kaufman, but kind of frustrated this wrestler so much that in the scene where Andy Kaufman actually gets slapped by him, which actually happened, was an interview, it was full on. I hate you.
When Jim, when he happened in real life to Andy, it was a slap. He hit him, but it wasn't full on. But he said, because he was so frustrated with the way filming had been, when he slapped Jim, it was a decent. Yeah. And Jim actually said afterwards, "You really got me there."
Yeah.
That was a decent slap because of all the frustration of dealing with Jim Andy.
Exactly. And during the wrestling, the actual wrestling match, Andy Kaufman faked being injured.
Yes.
But
the wonderful pole-driven thing, and he's there, and the ambulance turns up, and it's all huge.
But in the film, Jim Carrey actually got injured. He actually did.
Well, do you know
which is,
you know what happened?
Yeah. What?
Jim Carrey, or this guy who played the wrestler. It's 2:00 in the morning. He gets a phone call from the other side of America. On the phone is Jim Carrey, Danny DeVito, who was also producing, and the production company, right, and one of their insurance people. And they basically said, look, this is what's going on. We're talking about the big wrestling scene. Jim actually wants you to pole drive him.
Yeah.
And everyone else in the room, Danny DeVito, the producers, the insurers, like, no, that's not going to, no. Like, there's just too much risk that if he does get injured, it puts at risk the production, and B, you're paying out for Jim,
Yeah.
And Jim's like, no, I really want to, I feel like I need to do this, blah, blah, blah. Regardless of the fact that Andy was bunging it on 90% of it anyway at the time, he really wanted to get pole. So anyway, so it was settled that no. And no surprise, Jim would not get pole driven at the thing. So cue the day in LA, and there's first problem, right? This wrestler turns up, and there's all these extras, right? And they're all wearing half of them wearing straw hats and denim overalls, like they've just got off the farm.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Have you seen it? Have you seen
No.
document? You just heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I heard an interview with the wrestler who I've conveniently forgotten the name. He's like, this wasn't what happened. Like, these guys are from Dallas or that, they're well-to-do people. These aren't hicks, so that you see the costume guy goes up and just says through the megaphone, everybody take off your hats. Anyway, and so for the whole day, these extras had to sit there. Long story short, there's plenty of takes because, he does the thing with Jim Carrey, stop, Jim goes out, stunt goes in, does the thing with the stuntman, then stuntman goes out, Jim goes back in, then it's stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. And it's the entire day, and the extras are getting rowdy.
Yeah.
And then Jim comes up to the guy and says, look, I really want you to... Oh, not Jim, but Jim got someone to come up to him and go, Jim really wants you to pole drive him now. So in his head, he's been told by the director and everyone else, Danny DeVito, the producers, do not pole drive this guy. Then someone's come up and said, Jim wants you to do it. Yeah. Because they're all screaming now because the extras have had enough. It's all day. What? Jim's too scared to fight. Jim keeps going out of the ring. Wrestle Jim. So he's like, I'm stuck in this position. So what do I do? Because I'm on the hook now. Yeah. Because if I really do it and it goes bad and Jim's going to overdo it like Andy did, I'm screwed. I'm screwed either way now. And there's Jim giving him the evils already from the other side of the ring. Yeah. So he said to the director, I'm stuck. I've just been told. And the director's got, okay. Thank you so much for telling me. Thanks so much. Walks in the middle of the ring and says, that's a wrap. And it all stopped. And Jim's giving him this guy absolute evils because he's like, I really want to do this. You've just ruined my moment. It's all been building up to this moment sort of thing. And let's just say was less than friendly to the wrestler. Yeah. Oh my God. And then he broke something and went out in the hospital. It was a fun day, and I think you could feel for the extras, but also Andy Kaufman, like you just didn't know what to expect. And of all people to play him, Jim's really good. Like I've seen him in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, playing a really dramatic role with only a few moments of levity. Absolutely amazing. You look at Robin Williams in playing serial killers. I'm like, some of the best dramatic moments come from these comedic actors. Yeah. Because they just go so deep to find these funny moments about their life and sometimes rawest moments of their life that they're making fun of. Yeah. And it's amazing to see them do that. And I think that character allowed Jim Carrey to do everything, the drama, the comedy and everything else, because there was just so much around this Andy Kaufman phenomenon. 100%. And there was this awesome moment actually in the documentary where so Andy Kaufman played a character called Tony Clifton. Right. He played this... on Taxi Driver. Was that the one on Taxi Driver? I'm not sure. Sometimes even in stand-up, he just gets up as a character, Tony Clifton. So Jim Carrey also played Andy Kaufman playing Tony Clifton. Yes. And the real Andy Kaufman would sometimes not want to go somewhere, so his right-hand man, the guy who helped him write stuff, would dress up as Tony and pretend to be Andy and Tony. Anyway, that guy was involved in the shoot with Jim Carrey and stuff. The real guy, friend of Andy Kaufman. I mean, really trying to legitimately do the best representation of Andy's life. Exactly. So who better to bring than the people that were part of that life? And so there was one time where
God damn it, Hugh Hefner invited Jim Carrey for dinner at his mansion. He was having a party or whatever.
That'd be a great party.
And Jim Carrey's managers and stuff call Hugh Hefner and is like, look, you're either going to get Andy Kaufman or Tony Clifton, but it's going to be Jim. He's just... He's playing a character at the moment. Anyway, so Tony Clifton turns up to Hugh Hefner's house, partying along. Everyone's like, oh my God, what the hell? All this stuff. And it ends up being not Jim Carrey. It ends up being the guy.
Yep.
And half an hour later, Jim Carrey walks in as Andy Kaufman. And Hugh Hefner's face just drops and kicks Tony Clifton out and all this stuff. It's just like, what?
It's a great rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interviews with people who work with Andy and Jim on this production. And it's wonderful. I'll have to see that documentary.
It's really interesting.
I feel like I know it, but I don't know it well enough. I'll give you one more story. Because I found Andy when I was watching Taxi, and you've got great Danny DeVito was on it. Tony Danza from also watched him in Who's the Boss as a kid growing up. Like just people with great comedic talent, and to find them all on the one set is really unusual, let alone television series. Yeah. And so they hired Andy to play this character, and Tony Danza said that he also had hired his alter ego, and when it was his alter ego, his character, you had to address him as that character only in rehearsals. Well, now what was interesting though, Andy never went to a rehearsal, so you get a table read, you have a day or so of rehearsals, just so like the cameras know where to go, whatever. So they had to hire another guy who was quite a good actor actually, who stood in during rehearsals so that they knew where they were relating to Andy, and someone could say Andy's lines, everything. So they had this stand-in for Andy during rehearsals. Yeah. Then Andy would come in, and you'd never know whether you get Andy in a great mood, Andy in a bad mood, Andy in a funny mood, Andy playing alter ego. They just didn't know which level of crazy it was going to go to. It would turn up on the day of shooting. You've got the live audience, you're ready to go, and Andy just rocks up. But he never missed a line, never missed a mark.
Wow.
They couldn't fault him for anything.
Nice.
It's just dealing with the universe that was around Andy. Yeah. And I'll link one of the interviews I watched recently, actually, with Tony Danza talking about what it was like working with Andy Kaufman on Taxi. It was just because everything we've talked about, it feels like all of that with the alter egos, the dramas, the setups behind the scenes were almost as crazy, if not crazier, than what went on in front of the camera, which is hilarious.
You also see that on this. It's so meta. Like you see that with the Jim Carrey one, and I think he's quite an intelligent dude, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
But he's
it was
also
a great movie.
He's also
it was
a bit
great
whack.
movie.
I think you have to be whack if you're that intelligent, you know?
Yeah, it was a great movie. I really enjoyed that. So, oh wow, we went off on a tangent. Well,
it was a good one. Good tangent.
Speaking of strange stories, there's a segue.
Yep.
So out of nowhere, right, this week, I get an email from an Italian animation company wanting me to audition for an Australian character via an online platform that I forgot existed, let alone that I had a name and a demo attached. I can't remember.
Oh my God.
So they contact me and they say, we want you to audition for this. We love the way your voice sounds. I'm like, okay, that's great, but also weird. I don't know what it sounded like when you listen to it, or how old that demo was anyway. So out of nowhere, this Italian production company, television production company's gone, we're doing this animated series. We want you to play this detective, this Australian character. And can you send through, does it sound like something you'd be interested in? Let us know. We're happy to send through some lines for you to record, and then we can take it from there. I mean, just last week when I was saying how you've got to have a social media strategy, however big or small it is, because you never know where your next opportunity is coming from. I'm like,
there we go.
Get this
you don't even remember
what the hell? What?
Well, that's cool.
Obviously, I replied and went, interested. But we'll see what if anything happens from that. But,
yeah, sure.
But absolutely, you never know where your next. It's just so random. Like you couldn't make that up. An Italian television company doing an animation that involved an Australian character.
Sure, it's not a scam.
whatever. No, they didn't ask for money, just my voice. So they didn't ask for money.
There you go.
But it would be interesting to know what their budget is just when they go back to me. But anyway, so it was it was good. It's been a weird week. It's been weird but good. One
Weird
minute
but good.
I'm playing Hank in Lipstick, having fun with the troupe in rehearsals.
Nice.
Wrestling with dogs for a dog app. And talking to an Italian production company about
There we go.
being an Aussie detective.
Brilliant.
All in a week of up-and-coming acting. Who knows what's in store next week? Hopefully it's just as busy and
Max
productive.
doesn't. His future's
I
blank.
I have no idea. My future's blank. You're right. Spot on. Oh, shit.
Aren't they all?
Aren't
Are
they
we
all?
all? We
You
don't
do.
know.
No.
It's blank canvas.
Which
Create
is
your
also
own.
exciting
Yeah.
in a way.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's enough for the Andy Kaufman show. And Sam and Max, we'll listen to us again next week. Two Unemployed Actors. I'm Max.
I'm Sam.
Bye.
Two unemployed actors.